hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Good morning, Ekaro. Welcome, family. You are watching Ascending on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. I am your very, very happy host, your grateful host, April R. Silver. And you know it's Saturday. For the most part, it's Saturday live. We go live here on this channel every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. It is our blessing to do so. So welcome to our regular viewers. Welcome to the new viewers. Welcome to everybody who's watching on Twitter, who we know you're going to switch over to YouTube. Welcome to everybody. So we have a different kind of a show today. I have to say, we have a different kind of a show because if you were with us last week, you heard me announce that Dr. Makola M. Abdullah was going to be our guest today. He is the president of Virginia State University, one of my favorite HBCUs in the whole HBCU universe. He is not able to join us today. He had an unexpected engagement, a family engagement, and it was unexpected. So at the last minute, we had to pivot. So I didn't want to cancel today, of course. I wanted to proceed, but please know that he will be with us. We are already rescheduled. Dr. Makola M. Abdullah, he will be with us August 30th. So yeah, just next month at a different date. So we're going to do something different. So even with the show that was originally planned, it still is this weekend that it is. So in a quick moment, we are going to focus on the anniversary of the killing of Sandra Bland, right? Tomorrow, Sunday, July 13th, is the anniversary of her death. But before we go there, we want to remind people to check in, tell us from where you are ascending like you all do every week. I'm so grateful for this international audience that we have. I'm grateful for the national audience that we have. I'm grateful for all the New Yorkers and the Brooklynites and our folks in the San Francisco Bay Area who are watching earlier than most, and our international folks. So put in the chat from where are you ascending. We'd love to see that. Tell us what you think of the show. Welcome to, Mo Beasley's here. I can see that. Welcome, Mo Beasley from Miami Beach for sure. So we want to definitely, again, remind you, you're watching Ascending. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Shout out to the Marc Lamont Hill official team members. Shout out to my team. And with that said, we're going to jump right into bookmark. So because we are focusing on something that's uncomfortable and infuriating and enraging at the same time, which is the killing of Sandra Bland. The anniversary, the 10th anniversary is tomorrow, July 13, 2025. We also have the 11th anniversary of the killing of Eric Garner on July 17, 2025 will be the 11th anniversary. But let's focus on Sandra Bland for a minute and a larger conversation, which is going to lead us into bookmark. The bookmark for this week is a book by Andrea J. Ritchie. It came out in 2017. The book is Invisible No More: Police Violence Against Black Women and Women of Color. The forward, the introduction to the book was done by, sorry, one second. I'm sorry. Bells and whistles going off. That's my fault. The book is Invisible No More. It came out in 2017. My agency, Aquila Work Songs, had the honor of working with Andrea Ritchie on that publicity campaign. And so I'm so grateful that we had the opportunity to do so. Andrea Ritchie is an amazing, amazing soul. And I want to share, this is a picture of Andrea Ritchie, the author of the book. I want to share a screen And I want to read part of the screen that shows some comments about the book. There's one comment here, and I'll read them all, but let me just start with this one in the middle by Robin D.J. Kelly, the amazing scholar. The first line in his review of this very powerful book, he says, for those who are listening to the show and not watching, he says, this is a terrifying book. And I remember reading that, and it's absolutely true. This book is, I'm pausing now. This book is heavy. It will generate grief and outrage. So let me continue with his quote. Quote, this is a terrifying book, not only because it exposes the startling number of Black women whose lives were cut short by state-sanctioned violence or the fatal consequences of policing Black women's bodies. What is most disturbing is how little we know about these women and their stories. But thanks to Andrea Ritchie's thorough research and raw storytelling, captivating both the horrors and the resistance, we can finally begin to hashtag say her name and end the state's war on women of color once and for all. That was a quote from Robin D.J. Kelly about this book, Invisible No More. There's another quote for those who are listening and not watching from Monique W. Morris. And her quote is, quote, Invisible No More is more than a book about police accountability. It is an important read that interrogates policing practices at the intersections of race, gender, sexuality, and ability. End of quote. That was by Monique W. Harris. Some of you all know she wrote the groundbreaking book, author of the groundbreaking book.
Morris. W. Morris.
Thank you. What did I sorry.
Said Harris.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Monique W. Morris, author of Push Out, The Criminalization of Black Girls in Schools. The final quote, at least for this show, that I wanted to share, and there are plenty. We're going to show you the website in just a moment where you can get more than just quotes. You can buy the book. The final quote is, this book is a powerful call to action to all who care about women. That's from Margaret Hung. I'm not sure if I pronounced her last name correctly, but she's at the time, she was the executive director of Amnesty International. So we're going to put the website on the screen, because the website, for those who are listening and not watching, the website is invisiblenomorebook.com. There is a workbook, a guide. There are resources there on that website, particularly for those who give a damn about learning more about how to fight against and to stop policing of Black women's bodies, Black women and women of color. It is thoroughly researched. It is an incredible, heavy book, but it arms us for those who give a damn. I'll say here that in reading Invisible No More is a timely examination of how Black women, Indigenous women, and women of color experience racial profiling, police brutality, and immigration enforcement. So we thank Andrea Ritchie. I'll make sure that she gets this, because it's evergreen. The book is evergreen. The work is evergreen. And I wanted us to definitely have tools for those who are new to activism, for those who are looking to have quality information and data and context and storytelling about this work that we do. So on that note, and I see we have enabled a new feature here. So thank you to everyone who's watching. We see Gloria Lewis from Atlanta. Rolando's here, of course. Thank you, Rolando, for putting that clickable link in the chat. You all can see yourselves on the screen. That's a new feature. So we're going to keep that going. But I also want to share, go do our regular Black Media shout out. The Black Media shout out for today. And even though I might have done this before and mentioning Essence. I really don't remember off the top of my head, but I got to give a shout out to Essence Magazine. I know in the past we did the 25th anniversary because the publication did a book, and it's a glorious book from 30 years ago about the book on the 25th anniversary of Essence. So that was a bookmark before. Now we have the 55th anniversary issue that is on newsstands now. And you see on your screen my mentor, a giant of a woman and a freedom fighter and a powerful soul. That is a picture of Susan L. Taylor, one of the important editors, former editors of Essence Magazine, and she is a powerhouse. I have the blessing of calling her a mentor and a friend. The way that this Black woman shows up for Black women and always has for all of these decades is worthy of repetition. So I wanted to make sure that in our Black Media shout out, we shout out Essence Magazine and the 55th anniversary collector's issue that is on stands right now. I have my copy. Y'all can see that. I gotta get our beloved Susan Taylor to autograph that. And shout out to Asha Bendelli and all of the editors that I've worked with there. Some are still there. Most have expanded, but I just wanted to shout out that very sacred space for Black women as we focus on Black women in particular. So on that note, I want to, Rolando says, wow, that's amazing. You're very blessed. Yes, I am blessed. Let me just say how I ended up working with Susan Taylor, the beloved Susan L. Taylor. I have an email list. You all know I pushed that, put on blast as an email list. We started in the late 90s, before social media, 10 years before social media. That email list is still going strong. I don't know how Susan Taylor ended up on the email list called Put on Blast that I started 1,000 years ago, but she did. And she used to go around telling everybody, y'all need to rock with April on her email list because it's amazing. It's powerful. It keeps us on the pulse of what's going on in arts and activism. Fast forward a couple of years, I get a call from Asha Bendelli to say, who I know from the poetry scene, from the arts and activism world, who was a dear friend, who I love dearly, an amazing author and social justice activist herself. And she called me. I was on the Eastern Parkway. I might have told this story before. I was walking down Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn, and she was like, hey, sis. And I'm like, hey. She's like, you want to work with Susan Taylor on this project? I'm, summarizing the conversation, but I had an amazing opportunity to be the managing editor for A New Way Forward, which was a book for mentors. Is a collection of tools and practices and essays and the best thinking around adults who mentor children. Susan Taylor has National Cares Mentoring Movement, the organization she founded after she left Essence Magazine. And because whatever reputation I had, it prompted Susan and Asha to call me to bring me on that project. And it was life-changing to be the managing editor for that book project. And the goals were amazing. So I just want to thank Asha. I just want to thank Susan as well. So I want to move into, sorry, I'm checking a couple of things. I want to move into, I'm sorry, family. This is all of the things that are going wrong today. I want to move into the topic at hand. And to my producers, my alternate phone is not working, so we can't use that as a way to communicate with me. So let me just say that, so we can just dead that for this episode. So let's get into the discussion at hand. And this is us paying homage to the life and legacy of Sandra Bland, also to Eric Garner, but I want to focus on Sandra Bland. I want to do that, and this is why we executed this new feature I want to thank you. I want to do that by asking the audience to weigh in on the ways that this social justice movement around policing, and how do we educate ourselves about um, the policing movement, or the defund the police movement, the way that we show up in our families, the way that we show up as individuals, the way that we show up in our communities as activists, as organizers, as people who give a damn, the way that we channel our outreach for good. I am interested in learning from you, the community, in what ways do we, those who are here amongst the living, how do we, how do you, how can we better improve our lives um, against the oppression? Oppression in 2025, we know, is the administration. I have the mindset that there is a education that needs to happen, particularly amongst younger people, that the policing of Black women's bodies, the killing, the insensitivity, the demonic approach that law enforcement has around Black lives is not new. I have an aversion when people are attached to this movement and they say things like there is the death of Sandra Bland or Breonna Taylor or Tamara Rice sparked a movement. I have an aversion to that. I want to know what your thoughts are. That's why we've enabled the comments. I have an aversion to that language, not the spirit, but the language, because it presupposes that all of the killings that have happened in 2025 and 2014 and 2010 or whatever are new, and that our outrage is new, and we're organized afresh, that we are pulling together our organizations afresh. And it's not true. The police and law enforcement and vigilantes have been treating Black people and people of color, particularly women, been treating us as prey for years and for decades, for centuries, and prior to this thing that we call the United States. So I want to hear from the audience the ways that you engage and channel your outrage and do your work on a regular basis, if at all. Maybe your outrage and maybe your way of engaging is by learning and reading, so that you can be informed. You know, if you know me at all or just a little bit, you know that's my thing. We got to start at the basic level. Rolando says, right, it's not right and it's not new. The behavior goes all the way back to the antebellum South. Yes. And I would say there goes back to, and before that as well. Because if we internationalize this work, we know that oppression and canceling out people's wills started before here, before the antebellum South. It started when the slave traders and the slave makers and all of those folks landed in our home in the continent of Africa, right? Mo Beasley says, our fight for freedom continues to be constant. We who believe in freedom have never rested. Mo Beasley, I want you to add to that, dear friend. Tell the audience where that comes from, because that's going to be a great tie, your phrase, we who believe in freedom, or where it's been popularized, I should say, because that's going to be a great way to tie in arts and activism. So Mo Beasley, thank you for the comment, and then add to it. For me, and I would like to know to what extent you agree, the education of ourselves, reading, the not taking everything for granted that we see on social media is critical. It's critical because we can't be the mouthpiece. We can't educate our children if we are not reading and getting context and challenging and understanding what it is that we are putting forth and what are the tools. reading and discussion and debate and making ourselves open to that which has come before us, and that history trains our muscles. It trains our language. It gives us voice. It gives us language. It gives us narrative. It gives us context. And when we do it more and more on a regular basis, then we become the mouthpiece for that which is righteous and just and fair. And it grows us. Not just headlines, right? I have to say that with regard to social media, not just reading headlines. And let me share something else. I saw on social media, someone did a whole post about Sandra Bland, our beloved, and the dates were wrong about when she was murdered. When she died, the dates were wrong, the information was wrong, and it had all of these comments, it had all of these clicks, it had all of these things, and it was not factually correct. Reading and thinking and embracing an intellectual approach and a humane approach to the context in which we live trains us, and it grows us, and it puts forth a pedestal that we can launch from when we do our activism work that is righteous and principled and irrefutable. And I think that that's why that's important. We have my mic sounds nice, says good morning. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I'm reading the screen, folks. I'm sorry. Since the tragedy of Sandra Bland's death, it is confounding that the very next policing incident is sadly just around the corner, or yes, and likely happening right now as we speak, which is part of the problem. The reason that I chose Invisible No More as a book, because it gives us data. We need not, it is important to feel what we feel and to be outraged and to go to the protests. I believe in protests. I believe in people showing up at marches and protests. I believe in boycotts when they are strategic. I also, because they are effective, right? We didn't get here by not doing those things. And it is an outlet for our emotions and our outrage if we approach it carefully and I would say carefully, strategically, and we're just not showing up for anything. The intellectual side of this work is in the study. There's a saying that said, "What is study hard, love labor," or "love labor and study hard." That's important. We have to be historians, and we have to be able to put things in context. And I think that's important because we have to make sure that we have an information that's irrefutable. Bullet the Bunny is here. Oh my goodness. Dr. Trevia B. Lindsay's book. Thank you. How are you, my friend? It's so good to see you. It's been a minute. Dr. Trevia B. Lindsay's book, American Goddamn, is one of the most naked indictments of the country's pathological abuse of Black women. Highly recommend. Yes, thank you, Bullet the Bunny, for returning to Ascending. Good to see you. Yes. Dr. Trevia, I was introduced, am I saying, no, did I say her name? Dr. Lindsay, I think it is. I know her from her being a guest on Night School. So pardon me if I didn't see the name again, but I know Dr. Lindsay, she's amazing. I've seen her through Night School here on the Marc Lamont. Treba, thank you for the correction. I love being corrected by people who can correct me. So thank you. But yeah, her work is amazing. There are other authors. There are plenty of other authors. Like if I could do book lists, I could do bookmark all day long. So please, in addition to the organizations that you're a part of, and in addition to the organizations that you're seeking, the social justice activists, where you're doing your work, or maybe not doing the work, maybe put in the chat, please, so we can put on the screen those books. Y'all know that I'm doing Ascending thanks to Marc because it's an opportunity to share. It's an opportunity to get out of me, what I know, and to learn from you all. So that's why we're enabling the chat. I saw something from Sandy that I wanted to back on the screen. Thank you. Hi, Sandy. Being an immigrant, I'd be remiss if not pointing out that we're living, how come I can't see it? That we're living in a police state, policing inside. Yeah. Sandy, for those who might not remember or might not know, Sandy was with us a couple of months ago when we did the episode on adoption and the other side of adoption, getting people to understand that adoption may not be all that one thinks that it is. So thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Bullet the Bunny, for putting the link in the chat. That is America Goddamn. Yes, violence around violence against Black women and the struggle for justice. Treva B. Lindsay. Thank you for that. So I asked people to definitely check that out. Did we do Uncle Bobby's? Can we show people that Uncle Bobby's is a wonderful source by which to get books? We want you to support and get your books from all Black bookstores, be they online or not. But the founder of this channel, Marc Lamont Hill, has a bookstore in Philadelphia called Uncle Bobby's. You see it on the screen if you're watching. Get your books from there. Get your books from African American Literature Book Club.com, AALBC. We've done them as a Black media space shout out before. So definitely come full circle, folks. Get your books, get your knowledge, and go get a cup of coffee at Uncle Bobby's. So let me see where else. Uncle Bobby's was doing anti-Amazon free shipping. Let's put that on the screen. Thank you, Bullet the Bunny. I didn't realize that. So that's all the more reason why. Yes, Uncle Bobby's was doing anti-Amazon free shipping. If you order from there, the links are in the chat. What organizations are you all a part of? That's no shade if you've not yet joined the organization. No shade whatsoever. The way that we fortify ourselves against this police state comes in different ways. And I'm of the mindset that it's not always the same thing. Everybody is not going to march. Everybody doesn't have the ability to march and go to the protest. People might prefer to watch documentaries versus reading books. No judgment. The thing is, we have to give a damn. We have to, that's where I have judgment for those who are not doing anything. If you are in the mindset and you don't know what to do, then this is a place, right, where you can be amongst like-minded people who give a damn and who are doing activist work and whose lives are committed to that, despite how hard it is. Night school is another place. There's so many other different places where we can lift up and learn how to change our mindset. The mindset that says that the police in the United States of America are here to protect and serve us is articulates a lack of understanding about the police in the United States of America. So I want people to put in here and share with those who are watching the ways that we can individually and then collectively improve our state. I want to see, excuse me, we have, I can't even see, sorry, the comments scrolling. Oh, here we go.
They're scrolling.
Okay.
And just so you know, if we need anything from you, April, we'll put it on the private chat in the studio. So just make sure you're checking that.
Okay, for sure. For sure. I want to also talk about, I want us to say the names, why I think it's important to the movement to say their names or to say her name, why I think that was important. And I also want to talk about and get your feedback on not doing that. And there's a little bit of nuance. There became a point where on social media, at every given moment, we were being cloaked with all of the deaths and the killings and the videos. Freddie Gray, the pictures, the videos, there's just so many. And I remember, and I meant to get a picture of the girl, and I need you all's help, family. The little girl, several years ago, way before Sandra Bland. She was in Detroit. She was killed by the police, sleeping in the living room. I'm drawing a blank. It's so many. I know somebody in the chat remembers. I want to say Anaya. Um, she was sleeping in the living room, in the front room, and was killed by the police overnight. It was in Detroit or in the Detroit area. I want to say the last name was Jones. I'm going to check the comments because I need you all's help. For some reason, that struck me extra. This had to be like the early 2000s. I want to say Jones. I want to say her first name starts with an A. Ah, yes. Ayana Jones. Thank you, Bullet the Bunny. I was drawing a blank. But here's the point, kind of sort of what I'm making. Of all the ones that we know about, it had gotten to a point where there were some healers. Thank you, Rolando, as well. There were some healers, some activists, and some organizers that were encouraging us to check out. Not from the work, but from the onslaught of the videos, of the images, because it was debilitating for some of us. It was too much. It was affecting our mental health, our psychological health, because watching the videos over and over, and being confronted with the videos in ways that we're not typically used to, well, the older generations, was having a negative impact, right? It was erosive, for lack of a better phrase. And then I began to see on social media, people were like, stop watching the videos. Does anybody remember that? I know I'm not making it up. People were like, stop watching the videos. Don't stop working, but stop watching the videos, because it was an onslaught. I felt that there was value in that. I felt that for me personally, and I'd love to get your feedback. For me personally, I did not need to see someone being murdered on screen in order to be outraged about being Black and living in this country. There are some people that argued and pushed back and was like, but you're still here. And what you have to go through as a bystander watching it on the screen is not worse than the family members who have to now live their lives without their loved one. And it's certainly not worse than the peoples whose lives were taken violently, needlessly. So there are some people who argued, get over it. It is what it is. And whatever your suffering is doesn't compare to the family, to the loved ones, to the people who lost their lives. That was some of the pushback, respectfully, not nasty, but just another point of view. I, on the other hand, was like, I hear you, and I can't. I promise you to this day, and I'll be completely transparent. And part of this was a mental block out, I'll admit. Was it last summer? The woman who was killed in her apartment? I think I blacked out her name because I'm not remembering it right now. The woman who was killed in her apartment, calling on the name of Jesus. Y'all help me put it in the chat. I don't remember her name. When I saw from people what happened and what the story was, I couldn't. I didn't go search for that video. I didn't go search to read the stories. To this day, I haven't watched George Floyd, the video of George Floyd being killed. I didn't need the video of either of those people or any of the other ones. I didn't need it. And I didn't think that I could function by watching it. Bullet the Bunny says the same dialogue has been risen around Gaza. Trauma porn is the phenomenon, I believe. Yeah, thank you I couldn't recall that phrase, Bullet the Bunny, but yet trauma porn. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that phrase. I think there's some value to it. For some people, I can't. I don't have the language. I don't have the language I just am contemplating the impact on those who are trying to move forward. I think that there's some element, just judging on base of the phrase trauma porn. I don't know. I can't articulate that fully, but um
The
I
woman's
get
name was Sonia Massey.
yes, yes. I admit there's a part of me that blocked it out. Like in real time, I couldn't remember her name, and if Drake had not come in, I would not have recalled it.
That's thanks to the comment section. Actually, they
Okay.
refresh my memory as well.
Yes, yes. Rolando says, I wish I hadn't. It was horrific. Rolando, you talking about Massey? Is that the reference, or was it the George Floyd one? I'm not sure.
That was the reference he was referring to.
Okay. I couldn't do it. And I'm not judging myself also. I'm not judging people who couldn't do it. I'm not judging those who did watch. I didn't need it. Maybe for some people, it is the thing that made them be like, fuck, I gotta be involved in the community. I gotta take a stance. Maybe that's what some people needed. We come to this work at different levels, with different tolerance levels, with different sensitivities and such. But I thank you for commenting. But I do remember, and someone else said they remember as well, where there were healers in the community. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna need y'all to check out if you can't handle it, because it becomes debilitating. And we don't need us to be debilitated, right? We need us to be as active and engaged and informed as possible. Sandra says, Sandy says, both things can be true. Okay. Our suffering watching a video is not as great as that of the family members whose loved ones was murdered, and we have to protect our mental health to stay in the fight. I would agree. And whatever healthy ways protecting your mental health and your emotional health and your spiritual health, in whatever way that means for you, in a healthy way that keeps you engaged in this work, is important. Not watching is also self-care. I would agree. Sonia Sanchez, and I think that was episode number 3 on Ascending. Was it 3? I don't know, maybe 2, episode number 2. Sonia Sanchez has talked to us for years, for decades, about self-care, reflection, conflict, context, humility, and taking a break. I think I told you all the story. It was years ago. She's our forever mother. She's still with us at 90 plus. I told the story where I was telling her years ago that I was going to take a trip. I forgot what year it was. Maybe it was too long ago. I was taking a personal trip. I was going to Puerto Rico to discover, to relax, and whatever. And we were on the phone, me and Sonia Sanchez, and she was ecstatic. She was absolutely ecstatic that I had decided to take a trip, because that's atypical for me, a vacation rather. And she talked about, for those of us who are doing this activist work in her era, they didn't do that. As a matter of fact, language alert, profanity alert, they shitted on people who would take a break. Because then you were definitely not cut out for this work. You weren't really a soldier if you're going to take a break and then tell people you're going to take a break or take a vacation or whatever, or to go rest or not answer your phone or not go to the meeting, right? She was like, we chastised those people in their ignorance, and she was like, that's the wrong thing we did, because people need to take a break. I want to make a distinction between checking out and like self-care. Some people take a break or check out or whatever because they don't want to do the work, they don't want to be held accountable, and they have no intention of embracing this work and doing the hard work. It is difficult to be on this plane, to do the work. It's difficult, it's challenging, it is erosive. Some of us we do this work and we do it and we show up at every meeting and we have addictions to alcohol. We have addictions to sugar. We have addictions to self. We are abusive in our relationships. We are on the front lines talking about equity for women and say her name, and we're not doing none of that at home with our spouses, with our children, and our relationships. We allow ego to dominate the work. And under the guise of work, it's really about chasing fame and chasing power in this small little activist world. We're not doing any inner work, and we're on the grind, but we're not contributing to the evolution of we're not contributing to our freedom if we don't do the inner work. I think there is a call for balance that is important. There's a call for balance and integrity. And I maintain that that is fundamental if we're going to advance the movement. Because if not, then you are leaving us with holes for the enemy to penetrate and to divide us. We have a couple more comments. Morris Dr. Mo read, "Welcome back, my friend. Sometimes the anger generated," for those who are listening and not watching, and for those who are on YouTube, for those who are on Twitter, on Mark's Twitter, please come over to YouTube. It matters to this independent media channel that you watch this show on YouTube. So Morris Dr. Mo Red says, "Sometimes the anger generated by the various footage escalates so high in me that I start thinking about ungodly solutions." Think about ungodly solutions. I understand the essence. I'm going to put forth that maybe let us in our organizing, in our evolution, understand what it means to be righteous or godly. To be godly and righteous and to be fair is to fight back, right? Is to, and when I say fight, I mean fight in all the ways that are effective as individuals and communities. In whatever ways we need to be protected, we should be protected. Another comment. We have a comment that says from Reggie Jacks. I'm not looking at the start comment, guys. The image, thank you for giving historical context, Reggie Jacks. The Emmett Till image was powerful because society has seldom been made to confront the nasty work of white supremacists. Excuse me, what's the impact of these videos being all over the place? The Emmett Till image was powerful. We had not been made to confront the nasty work of white supremacists. What is the impact? The impact is, for some, debilitating. Sandra says, the videos brought awareness to those with privilege and or ignorance, thinking it wasn't race, it wasn't pervasive. Others of us know the violence was not new. The cameras were. The cameras were new. Hold Bullet the Bunny's comment right there. The cameras were new. Hold her comment right there because I want to comment on what Sandy said. We know in modern history, the cameras started with Rodney King, right? We know that was the massive. I'm not saying that nobody ever caught the killing of a black man, woman, or child prior to Rodney King, that it wasn't caught on a moving camera. I am not saying that. I am saying the one that penetrated society the most and opened up the door for police to be caught on camera beating the shit out of Rodney King. What was that, 1990, 1991? Was that incident, right? And so we're grateful for it. So the cameras and the imagery serves a purpose. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm talking about the oversaturation of it, right? That's what I'm talking about. So thank you, Sandy, for reminding us that the racism, the violence, the oppression, the brutality, the demonic behavior against people of color, particularly African Americans or people of African ancestry, to be more exact, was was not new, is not new, is ongoing as we speak, as we are listening and watching. The technology is what had made a difference. Bullet the Bunny says, might I posit that white people are scandalized by these videos because they are typically siloed off from these interactions? Does it move us forward? I do not know. Thank you for acknowledging that this is a bit of a struggle intellectually, Bullet the Bunny. Timothy Jones is here. Welcome back, my friend. And I want to get back to Bullet the Bunny's comment. I want to say, I want to read Timothy Jones, welcome back and happy birthday. There is a different, I think, difference when an image is distributed to enlighten as opposed to entertain. Now it's clickbait, which rarely elevates. Okay, pause for a moment. Timothy Jones says the videos might be entertaining, or the objective might be to entertain. That's, or clickbait, or clickbait. That's real. That's real. Like I said a moment ago, people are putting out wrong information about Sandra Bland. Clearly, family, we are expanding this conversation beyond Sandra Bland. Let me pause for a moment to do what I should have done in the beginning, is to lift up the family members of all victims of police violence and oppression, and be it Sandra Bland on this anniversary weekend, Eric Garner, whose the 11th anniversary is coming up on July 17th, and all of the names, whether we know their names or not, can we keep in our prayers and our thoughts and in our mindfulness the families, the friends, the loved ones where the date doesn't matter. Really and truly, the date doesn't matter. So I want to do that for sure. And there's importance in saying their name and remembering, because we have to put our ashe, we have to put the memory so that we don't forget and keep the context going. Rolando says, Tatiana Jefferson, yes, thank you for saying their names. Corinne Gaines, Michelle Crusoe, India Kager, Kayla Moore, Tanisha Anderson, entirely too many. Freddie Gray, it's just so many. Well, those were, I think many of those that Rolando just put in there were women. It's too many. But because we give a damn, I really think we have to drown out the misinformation. I think we have to drown out those who are simply posting and posturing and performing about the movement. We have to be the ones to drown them out. And we do that by showing up in Black media independent spaces with rational thinking, with facts, with data to cover and fill in the gaps for hosts like me. When the data is not readily available, we have to be the ones, or at least at my fingertips in the moment, we have to be the ones to drown out and overpower the misinformation and to present as uniform and unafraid. I'm going to give you all example of speaking of oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank because this is emotional. Who is in what year? Sorry, Drake, I know I'm not on camera one because I'm trying to recall. And what year was our Trayvon Martin? I was asked to, my PR firm was asked to go to Florida Memorial and to be a part of the graduation, to create awareness, to do PR, to be a part of the PR team for Florida Memorial giving Trayvon Martin a posthumous degree. Guys, check if I'm doing saying the right HBCU in Florida, where Sabrina Fulton was a graduate. Thank you, Bullet the Bunny, for the donation. check my math because I'm completely disoriented because I'm getting emotional. But I want to tell the story, and the guys will help me with my facts. Trayvon Martin would that year he would have been at the age when he would have graduated from Florida Memorial. His mother, Sabrina Fulton, was a graduate of that university. That university is known and has a solid reputation for its studies and focus. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Rolando. Sorry that I was drawing a blank, but I'm getting emotional. That university, Florida Memorial, has a highly respected aviation program. What a lot of people didn't know about Trayvon Martin is that he loved aviation. Absolutely loved it. Like I said, his mother was a student and a graduate of that Florida Memorial University. And it was known to the family that he would be on campus, that he loved aviation. And so the director of communications at that time, my dear friend Sayon Smith, Sayon Quiet Smith, pulled me in with some other team members to share with the world that the university was going to give him an honorary degree. My producers are the best in the world. I was a part, if you're listening and not watching, there's a screenshot about Trayvon Martin receiving this honorary degree. So we wanted the world to know that a stance was taken, right? Use whatever resources you can. Honor this young man who was tragically killed, who would have in that year, had he gone to college, had his life not been taken short, he would have likely gone to that university. But whatever, the university decided to honor his legacy in that way. So, as the communications professional that I am, we went all over the place to tell the world, because that's what I was hired to do, to help to spread the word. On Facebook in particular, when we announced on the Florida Memorial University Facebook page, the minute we announced that announcement about this honorary degree, the minute the trolls came out of nowhere. I had never in my life, as doing this work for decades, seen the level of onslaught just on social media. One, not even all the other, what year was that, guys? 2017. Not even all the other popular social media channels, but Facebook in particular. When I tell, it was so phenomenal. The onslaught, I'm sorry, let me be clear. The onslaught from everybody who opposed Trayvon Martin and Black people and was shitting on him and his memory and his legacy, calling him all kind of names, the ratchet names of calling his family, his mother, his father, his siblings. I mean, it was a phenomenon to the point where, and I'm talking about for days, it got to the point where we were like, oh, those are not humans. Those got to be bots. There's no human that could even type that fast. I had never seen the disrespect, the dismantling, the dismembering of his memory and who he was as a human being, the way we had seen on that university's Facebook page. And my point is to come full circle that there are machines in place. Some are human, some are not. There are operations, there's funding for us in a simple place like Facebook to discredit and dehumanize us at a pace that we can't keep up. Shout out to Akiba Solomon, because I went to my Facebook page to say, yo, family, I'm gonna need y'all to, this is in the beginning of the onslaught, I'm gonna need y'all to know what's going on. Go over to Florida Memorial University's Facebook page and counter all of the bullshit that was being said about Trayvon, his mother, his father, his brother, HBCUs, Florida Memorial, and anybody who gave a damn. Please go over and counter, because in the public space, the 5-star rating or thereabout that Florida Memoriam University had dropped down to 0 like that, because the onslaught was phenomenal, to the point where we were like, that's got to be bots and machines. Before we even knew what bots were, we knew that nobody could type that fast and that rapidly 24/7. My point is to give a hardcore real example about the so we can be super clear, right? To the extent that the machines in a simple place like Facebook are out to dismantle our reputation and to shit on us. And even though I knew, and the university and the PR team, that we knew it wasn't true, but it was so hard to watch and see the content on screen 24/7, them calling Trayvon Martin everything but a child of God. It was still hard to watch and read. And then we couldn't even celebrate because we're trying to engage the community to stop the shit. So it's micro and it's macro and it's ongoing. And when we are sleeping, when we are deciding that we don't want to give a damn or whatever, or we're doing anything but this work, then they are working 10 times as hard. I'm not shaming people for taking a break and replenishing, because it's important. We need us replenished. But I promise you, we can do a better job of pulling our resources individually and collectively, because the offense is more than what we know. And right now, I'm only talking about, as Robin DJ Kelly said, state-sanctioned violence. I'm not even talking about the regime that's in office right now. I'm talking about the disrespect of Black women and the not wanting to hear our voices and the lack of care and having these demonic folks clothed as law enforcement officers. I'm only talking about one lane. So I don't know that we have the luxury of opting out. And even if some people feel that way, that means that people like us, we got to work 10 times as hard to cover down for the gap that's left. To the extent that you cannot leave a gap, don't leave a gap. Family, I'm going to close out because we're coming to the time frame. I'm seeing your comments. We're going to keep this feature going, even though it's new and I don't know how to work it fully. I just know that I wanted to step in and fill the gap and give some stories and to give some context and to create a space where we can know that it's important to remember and to remember the families and to honor the legacies of all those who have been taken away, particularly women of African ancestry, particularly women of color, but not exclusively, so that their life is not in vain. We lived up to the support the family in the way that we can. I didn't want to leave this gap. Thank you for definitely watching. I've already been here for the comments. I want to remind you to go to the Ascending playlist, to watch all the previous episodes. We will be back next week with Cherie D. Warren, who's a principal in New York City Public Schools. I want to remind you that in November, we need to vote for this man who you see on the screen. For those who are in New York, in November, we have an election. I stand in full support the principles and the values and the work that Zoran Kwame Mandani is bringing to New York. I would be one of the proudest New Yorkers if we could just get him into office. We'll be talking more about him and his work, and I want to shit on everybody. Profanity alert. I want to shit on everybody who is like he's not good for New York, and that people are calling us dumb and stupid because we're voting this man into office. And to all of the billionaires who think that your money is more important and more powerful than the people's will, I want to shit on you today. But on this note, I want to say thank you to my Ascending viewers, to the regulars. Thank you for commenting. Please check out the work that we're doing at Aquila Work Songs, and we will see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Stay up.